256, you heard? 256. 256 lurkers. 256 Odu of Ifa. That promises me 256 lights that replaces the dark. It's prophecy, man. And I see it. I count it. I acknowledge it. This, along with all my content, is for the four. The four consistent. The four sincere. The rest of you, yeah, fall on your dick. Fall on your pussy, you heard? Let's go. Gemini, full moon. What's it about? Let's walk through. This full moon Gemini is square to the south node Virgo and north node Pisces. Understand that. It's square to 9 and 7. Alright? It's square to 9 and 7. Listen to me. Come on. The square with 9 and 7. Let's consider 5, okay, as a possible context for Mercury. Let's consider 5, all right? So, the Pope, or the Hierophant, square to the Hermit, number 9, and to the Sage, number 7. At the South Node, number 9, the square to the 5, or spirit of initiation, you're realizing at this point that I need initiation. I need initiation into levels that are beyond the noise that I've been hearing, the clutter that I've been hearing. I need initiation into realms of consciousness, intellectual stimulation or engagement that's beyond just a letter, but that allows me to incorporate a sense of being and purpose in my life. That's at the opposing energy of the Fool's card, Sagittarius. What is unique about the 9 square in Virgo is that there's a demand for sacrifice and urgency to decide on what the necessary sacrifice is going to be to move forward in order to retain the value of the fact that I have been rebirthed. I have been reborn. And in the rebirth or reborn status of myself, my mind, my cognitive mind, I need new experience that I can investigate and disseminate. I need new experiences and expansive awareness that I can unpack, study, review, look into. So it's realizing that the consciousness of Gemini doesn't have a background of experience for the new body to unpack and assimilate. So you have to go to Sagittarius to expand through experience, greater horizons, that which you have not traveled through, that which you have not been exposed to, that which you have not known. And it is complementary to the number 5, Hierophant, who is the gatekeeper between the carnal realm and the status of consciousness, coming out of a dead state into a living state. That is what the number 5 is here in the earth for. Life path number 5, heart, soul, urge number 5. I can show you the bridge that gets you from indulgence and a status of being lost in the illusions of the world into initiation of yourself through religious devotion. Not religious devotion such as I'm going to be Christian now, I'm going to be Muslim now, but I'm going to utilize discipline, accountability, structure, some knowledge, but studentship. I'm going to submit myself to that which I can learn and absorb from in a spirit of humility. And I'm going to put it into full practice to make sure that this new body is in submission to the wisdom of the spirit that I have retained through number 9. Understand? Excuse me, blowing this cigar. At the 7, square 7 to the 5. What's square 7 to the 5? Okay, some sacrifices have to be made in order to find myself consistent with revelations of illusions that I'm finding. I'm seeing through the system. I'm seeing through the falsehoods, through the narratives. I'm seeing through all these illusions. I'm seeing what the truth really is. I'm getting a glimpse of the real reality behind. And I want to brave it to grow. That's the direction of my growth. That's the direction of expansion. That's where I'm going. That's the future. Number 7, Pisces. It is in spirit. I have to let go of density. I have to discard density. I have to lose density. And number 9 is helping me to lose all of that density because it works against the detriment of Venus, which accumulates density through Taurus. Follow me. The sacrifices that allows me to lose density. So consciously, this is going to be the case. Cognitively, Mercury, Gemini, but also spiritually, it's going to be the case where the soul insists on subjecting you to circumstances that helps you to lose density. This could look like things such as, for example, you lost a job, you don't have access to certain things. You had to downgrade to this or downgrade to that. You had to go into a minimalist lifestyle. You had to be a little more humble about what you're doing and how you're doing it. But you're finding security with less. You're finding the abundance that's in the status of having less and identifying with less. Less is more in this case for the spirit. Where are we getting at? We're getting to the identity of artists. We're getting to the identity of creators. We're getting to the identity of innovators that have to be clear in the spirit, clear in the conscious, and they cannot be in the state of desire, want, greed, attachment, consume. That's not an artist. You are becoming a generation of artists, inventors, creators. We are becoming inventors. Invention is at the cusp of art and technology. It brings the two together. Remember that we're learning to download and embody Jupiter consciousness. Jupiter is a main focus, a main character of these energies that we're passing through. Understand? That number 7 is part of clearing the imagination, the heaven. But it's demanding a sacrifice so that we can have access to that clarity of the consciousness that allows you the capacity and clarity to be a creator. To identify with what you visualize, to feel it, to embody it. And Sagittarius is the same because it is an initiation of creations. Fire signs. The fire trine. That's where we create from. We're becoming creators, but we can't be distracted with, I want to buy this, I want to consume that. Buy, consume. I identify with my status, job title, get into the bag, competition, comparison, insecurity. I got to be perfect on the picture that I take. I want my relationship to look like this. I gotta have this curve and that curve and this makeup and this wig and all this stuff. I have to be so fucking perfect for the picture. Picture perfect. No, we are learning to identify with what is authentic. And what is authentic is imperfect. And what is imperfect is beautiful. Perfection is in the imperfection. And we're learning to find that. Understand? Any artist that you know, materialism is a contradiction to the artist spirit. No artist is materialistic. And when they become materialistic, they lose the power of their artistic talent. They lose the edge of it. It becomes watered down, it gets weak, it's not the same. You think of any artist when they was broke. They was the best when they were broke. They were the best when they ain't have shit. They were the best when when their ego wasn't so inflated. They were the best when they wasn't taking so many damn pictures and getting so much attention, validation, walking around fucking bitches and partying and you know what I mean, rising up on the charts and all this other stuff. That's when the artist becomes shit. They become shit. The best artists come from the bottom. The trenches, the mud. And we're learning to find our contentment not in necessarily the bottom, the trenches and mud, but in the natural state of the self that was not taught to lust for and identify with so much consumerism and material. This corporate ideal we're coming out of. We're coming out of identifying with that shit. European fashion and expensive this, expensive that, and all this status stuff and buying shit, credit, lines of credit, and, you know, evaluating each other on how much money you got and all of these, how much you can consume and buy me this and gimme. The people who create tomorrow are going to come from those who understand this. Those who are realizing this. That's that number 7. That number 7 is the, you know, it's the person. The number 7 energy, for example, if you put it in a personality or a person, they may have the money to go in and buy all that expensive stuff, but guess what? They'll go to the Goodwill and they'll put an outfit together from the Goodwill. You know what I mean? They can afford jewelry and all that other stuff, but they'll put on beads or colorful things or shells or, you know what I'm saying, artistic layers and everything that they do has to express something artful, beautiful, and from the spirit essence. That's the 7. We're learning to identify with that. Everything they do is a deliberate opposition, contradiction, and rejection of societal norms. Everything that they do is to express their what's the word? To express their rescind. To express the rescind of their consent. To take back their consent from the system. To fight it back by taking back their consent, taking back their identity, taking back their body, taking back their imagination, taking back their strength, taking back their talent. I'm not going to give to that system. This is that punk rocker that walks around, you know what I'm saying, with the spiky hair and all this, you know, earrings all over the place and in different colors. It's very Aquarius in the image. It's very Aquarius in the presence. But it's a number 7 foundation that comes from spirit, you know, like you know, the Erykah Badu type sense or the Andre 3000, you know, type of energy, or the Nas, you know, who, you know, he can indulge in that world, but, you know, he chooses to stay consistent with spirit and intelligence and the dissolve of illusions of this world. Even when he's in the heights. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So the square is realizing I can't keep going this route because it's not true to me. My mind feel like it's working against itself. It's like a walking contradiction in my mind and imagination that I can't continue on the trend cognitively that I have been on because it's simply not true. It's not sincere. And the reality where you have Gemini in your natal birth chart, that's the reality where that whole entire world, the way that you have been approaching that world, You see that it has been misappropriated, it's not that you're wasting your time, it's that you've come to the end of playing that role, of playing that person that you are not. And the North and South Node is demanding an alignment. That's what's happening. It's demanding an alignment. And through Sagittarius stellium, the same is happening with the body. The body is having the same crisis. It's demanding an alignment. The past themes, Virgo, the future projection, trajectory, Pisces, is asking that you align with the truth, that you strategize, plan, and frame your mind to live out consistency with what you know is going to be a natural breath of air as a lifestyle for you. And what's it going to take to create that reality for yourself? Understand? So until you do that, Gemini remains a duality. But if you follow the instructions of the square, it becomes a manifestation of wisdom and love over the story of your life. Remember, the duality of Gemini ascends to wisdom and love. I'll talk about that later in this discourse. You know what I mean? I'm wilding out on this one. You know what I'm saying? I had time today. I was off work. It rained. You know what I'm saying? You know I work outside, in the construction world. It rained, you know what I'm saying? Nigga was home chilling, sleeping in. You know what I mean? Re-energizing all that. Just came from the gym. You know what I'm saying? Getting it in. Staying healthy. Staying dangerous. And staying full of love. Understand that. Write that on your mirror. You know what I'm saying? Stay healthy. Stay dangerous. And stay full of love. Hurry it up. That's what it is. Hey, yo, I want y'all to understand you got to start to unravel and untangle your identity out of the misconception that the 14th Amendment was in your favor and that claiming to be a citizen is to your benefit. It is wiser of you to be a national or a private citizen, at least. I ain't doing every fucking thing for you, but I'm damn sure giving you some fucking nuggets. I'm helping y'all niggas out. You know what I'm saying? I'm dropping fucking breadcrumbs and shit that you know what I mean, you can follow into the, into the promised land. I ain't gonna sit up here in front, you know what I'm saying, like I'm all the way there either. But it sure would be easier, you know what I'm saying, if we all learn how to do it all together. You know what I'm saying? But one thing for sure, I know what the fuck is going on. And ain't it ironic a nigga is telling you this shit? Yeah. Of all things. 14th Amendment. I can speak on that. You know what I'm saying? That shit was brought up in the name of my ancestors. You know what I'm saying? Who these motherfuckers lied about, knowing that we fucking indigenous to this land. We are not fucking Africans. We're indigenous to this motherfucker right here. Right the fuck here. You go back thousands and millions and millions of years ago before the continent split. Yeah, same fucking blood. The fact that the Asiatic men were navigating this entire earth, indigenous to every single fucking continent on this earth, are Asiatic peoples. There's no such thing as an indigenous person who's lighter than copper or fucking chestnut. If you're lighter than copper or fucking chestnut, you are not indigenous. You a goddamn lie. And every continent has indigenous people who are Asiatic. But there's a certain people who went all over the world lying, mixing shit up and stealing, and the truth is coming out. And white people got caught up in that shit too. Because guess what? Y'all white motherfuckers, y'all caught up in this confusion too. They threw y'all under the bus too. Even though it was some of, you know what I'm saying, your uncles who did this shit under the instruction of Khazarians who were taught by the Moors. And I ain't gonna front either like the Moors didn't betray their own people. Yes, they did. Know that. Christian black codes made sure that there was no way to trace back whose estate this shit is. That's how them T-bonds got created. The fucking T-bonds that bailed the country out 1871. Then a repeat of that, 1933. You all already know. And now we get this fucking fiat counterfeit money. The Asians they taking pictures of with fucking feathers in their head and all this other shit, those are fucking Asians. I love them, God bless them. But they're not indigenous. They're native, but they're not indigenous. They came much later than the indigenous. The ferocious warriors who white men were shook and terrified of, they was not fucking Asians. It's the same people who white men happen to still be scared of. And y'all know who that is. Asiatics, niggas. Nappy-headed motherfuckers with broad nose, big lip, copper tone, chestnut, indigenous males. That's who he's scared of. And the other one who he's scared of, you guessed it, Muslims. And Muslims come in all colors, shapes, forms, and nationalities. That's who the white man is scared of. I can't make a sweeping indictment and say all white men. I will be wrong to say that. But I can say the white nationalists. There's a reason why he's scared of those two motherfuckers, which is really the same motherfucker. Because the Asiatic black Moor was the first one he ran in contact with in conflict. Peace and Friendship Treaty, First Treaty of the United States. Muslims. The last chief of the Cherokee Nation, an Asiatic Muslim. Come on, man. First presidents of the United States, Moors. George Washington was the 9th president of America. Come on. Fuck you talking about? These niggas been lying like a motherfucker since the beginning. Lying through their fucking teeth about what the fuck happened and who the fuck is who. But the truth is coming out. Truth is different than the fucking facts. Any jerk can register facts as being true. But we all know history is his story. That's a goddamn lie. But the truth, it can't be lied on. The truth will always resurface. Who has that warrior spirit since the beginning? Who's forever a fighter? Who will never, ever be born without the spirit to fight? Who? Who will never walk this earth without the spirit to fight back? To be a warrior. To walk the earth in a spirit and embodiment of war. Who else? Black men. They even romanticize and salivate over describing us with these descriptions. don't describe Asians like that. They don't describe anybody else like that in this whole fucking earth. Not even Africans. Hello. Don't nobody describe Africans in a warrior sense. Nobody describes them like that. Nobody characterizes them as dangerous and violent. What did Hillary Clinton call us? Super thugs. It's in the blood. It's not that we're bloodthirsty, uncivilized, and just want to walk around and drink blood of motherfuckers. It's that we will cross the line and not taking shit. We will hit back. We will fight back. Dying don't mean shit. Fuck is that? It's in our image. It's in our nature that we don't fear death. We don't fear death. This is not to describe a fucking savage. It's to describe someone who has resilience and fearlessness as a faculty of his blood. We're the ones who the whole system was designed to keep suppressed. Not fucking Asians. So out of all the Native Americans, it was the indigenous Asiatics who they had to focus on keeping suppressed, because that nigga is dangerous. He will fight back. He won't stop fighting back. He won't give up on fighting back. If you capture him, he'll run. He's too athletic. He's too strong. The motherfucker is smart. If you let him read, he'll be running all this shit. His spirit just doesn't die. What is it with this motherfucker? We have to keep him under control. We have to keep him suppressed. We got to do something to keep him from getting out of line. And boy, did they design a nifty system here in the United States and all of the Western countries to make sure that the real threat, the real native, the real indigenous, who really was the warrior, to make sure that they don't have to fight that fight all over again. Where you think the original Confederate flag came from? Yeah, look it up. It was an indigenous flag. They tell a version of the story that they want to tell you, because it's important for them to look a certain way in history. Movies, history books, corporations, everything else. White males are obsessed with looking a certain way to pull off status. But the truth always comes out. What makes black males a sex symbol? Eternally, through and through. It's the fact that we dangerous. Not just dangerous physically in what line we're willing to cross in our nature, but the fact that if we get information, if we get the proper knowledge and understanding, we are dangerous. A force to be fucking reckoned with. Because there's too much that can go behind that knowledge. When a black American man stands up, everybody is going to move forward. Everybody's going to benefit. Everybody's going to gain. Everybody's going to win. Because a black man never stood up for himself. He always stood up for every fucking nationality. You never heard of a black man stand up only for himself or solely for black people. You ain't never heard of that shit. Black women have that problem. But black men, no. Black men stand up for every fucking body. Every Everybody moves forward when a black American man stands up. You got Africans online now, podcasting or whatever else, in these modern times. Since Neptune came into Pisces, you see more presence of Africans having podcasts and things like that. You know what I mean? 24/7, they stay studying us. Why they study us so much if we the same? Why Africans watch us and study us so much if we the same? They trying to catch our cadence. Trying to figure out what is it about us that puts us in a spiritual position in our configuration of identity and presence and delivery. What makes us so influential? How do we have ownership of the hearts of every child in the world? How do black women influence the attitude of all women of the world? I don't give a damn if you got an attitude about it across your arm. I don't listen to black women. I don't want black women. I'm different. I don't do that. Yes, the fuck you do. You got your whole mannerism as a woman from black women. The attitude is snapping of the fingers and twisting of the neck, and how to deliver feminism, how to tell niggas to kiss your ass. I'm independent and I don't need this and I don't need that, and all that shit came from black women. You learn how to fucking do it. All that shit. Women of the world champion behind black women to get their ideal of rights. What happens when every people of the world feels like they're in a position of oppression? They go straight to African American males. The African American community. To get their marching orders, to get influence, to get help, to get support, to get ideas, to put spirit and leverage behind the mission. Fuck is you talking about? The truth is telling who we are, regardless of what the fuck, white man typed in a fucking computer and registry. The truth is telling us exactly who the fuck we are. We the same person we always have been. The most dangerous one, because we're the most influential. Fuck out of here. Nobody in this earth is more influential than African American male and female. That's fucking facts. It's just a shame that we choose to not use it constructively, productively, in a healing sense, in a positive sense, in a way that can heal the world, that can move and progress civilization forward. It's a crime shame that we're misleading people. The males of us are misleading the children into doom, destruction, death, and violence. The women of us is misleading other women of the earth into destruction of their families and corruption of their self and their being, their status, their identity, the sacredness of their entire being as a woman. If we come to proper consciousness, we destroy the entire system. Nobody else is that effective when they come to consciousness. Nobody. It's only effective when African Americans come to that level of consciousness. Only. Nobody else can do it. Fuck out of here. Thus, the mothers and fathers of this land called America, nigga. That is the spiritual estate that comes with that identity. You have a spiritual estate that comes with your identity. And all identities work as one. Many colors to the same frequency of white light. Unity. But you gotta know what the fuck you here for. Sick of going over this bullshit, man. Niggas ain't listening. Talking to my motherfucking self. All some of y'all can hear, oh, he's being so polarizing. He's being racist. He's misogynistic. Oh my God, how could you say that about women? What the fuck are you doing? Where's your truth at? Where's your guts? regurgitating a bunch of fucking bullshit. Shit that ain't hitting on nothing. Yeah, you gotta start some shit. Be a fucking riot. Make some noise. Be a fucking rebel. A revolutionary. You know Gemini is good for that. Every Gemini you know is like that. And I'm like that too. I'm not going to be stupid though and get on some, you know what I mean, call into violence bullshit. No. That ain't what we doing. We going through truth, love, wisdom. That makes us dangerous. Truth, love, wisdom. But we're not going to misrepresent love like it's some sweet poem of docility, passivity, and bitch-assness. Love don't know bitch-assness. You can't walk with love as a coward. Docile, weak. Love strengthens you. It empowers you. It makes you resilient. Truth. It makes you fearless. Come on, what are we talking about? Y'all know this shit. Alright, before we dive into this, I'm going to say this again, but I want you to remember this. When it comes to Pisces, Saturn retrograde, we were learning to take to keep our authority over our consciousness, over our mind, over our imagination. Understand that. Before I even go any further, a lot of you going down rabbit holes. Oh, I'm a white person. Maybe I shouldn't listen to this, man. I'm a Hispanic person. Maybe. Nick, and listen. We all fucking family. We are one family. We are really one blood. We have differences that we need to acknowledge so that we can understand and make sense of the unity and all of those differences. All right? So get over yourself and stop fucking crying. Wipe snot off your face. Listen. Pisces. This has to do with, being aware of your consent. Okay? It's when you come to understand civics, when you come to understand trust law, equity law, you are understanding how spiritual law works. You can only understand spiritual law if you study equity, if you study trust law, if you study civics. You can't explain it otherwise. I'm trying to tell y'all niggas. The same illusion that's over the physical, that's over the body in commerce. Commercial law. Maritime law. It reflects in the divine the exact same way. For example, as I told you about the 14th Amendment, right? You consent to being subject to corporate policy rather than the Constitution. As a citizen, you are not subject to Constitution. You're subject to corporate policy, which is how they fuck you with a 15-inch dick without your consent. Well, they gain your consent, but you're not aware of it. They gain authorization that you aren't even aware that you gave. You agree with assumptions that they take over you, which eradicates and disconnects you from your status, which disconnects you from your estate and jurisdiction as a son and daughter of God, in the image and likeness of God, you being God, the divine person with inalienable rights. There's a specific context to you having inalienable rights, but not as a citizen. You do not have inalienable rights. As a national, you have inalienable rights. In that context, change 1871. President Lincoln was the last president of the people who enjoyed that status in this nation. Do you fucking understand? It is the same in spirit. principalities in high places. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities in high places, the 13 families who work dark magic, dark sorcery. By the angels in the Holy Quran who were called Harut and Marut, who came to the Jews and taught them this sorcery. These Khazarians use children, their flesh, their blood, and misogyny to transfer ashe or vitality to their demons, to their dark powers. It is how these monarchs, oligarchs, and Khazarians stay in power. It's how they maintain control. And it's how they work money magic. The Epstein files is real, but it's just a mustard seed of what's been going on all along. And celebrities merge into the same culture because they are the hand that manufactures and engineers the Piscean mind state and appetite of the people into demonic dispositions with themselves, consenting them to dark contracts, covenants, and curses. So you have to become aware of it in order to stay free. Repeat after me in this wise. I do not consent to false judgments. I correct the record and I stand as the living man or woman. Understand? Trust law, equity, status correction, proper standing, and knowing your role in the fucking trust, which equals you being in position to be the beneficiary of your estate and the executor of your trust in estate, confirming the truth of your status and position of these operatives who wish to switch it to make you think that they are the executor and they are not. They are trustee. These Pisces lessons taught us that fear issues warrant. When a warrant is issued, they come to confiscate the body of who the warrant is upon. In spirit, it is the same. These dark forces have permission to confiscate your soul when you consent to fear. And guilt attracts that fear because it contemplates karmic consequence for violations of matriarchal law that is written on the heart and the spirit. Do you understand? And we're trying to recover that by finding Jupiter in the spirit with a covenant between the self and the inner child, Cancer, the matriarchal fortress in the self, the law that you must never violate because it is the spider web that is sensitive to karmic assignment and warrant upon your spirit that can manifest curses and covenants to move through the blood, and you won't escape it. It will show up in the 12th house of your children. What revokes these warrants is your awareness. The same awareness that you are afraid at that Scorpio shadow work catalyst. The truth that you're scared to listen to contemplate, to align with, and to admit in yourself and get with the fucking program. That's how the bloodhound hunts your ass down every time. Because you still have that frequency You're not getting away with it because you ignore it and get arrogant. Oh, I'm just gonna unsubscribe. I'm not gonna like this. It's just so negative. I just can't listen to this negative vibe. Positive vibes only. Okay, bitch. The bloodhound is gonna find your stupid ass. Repeat after me. I revoke all claims. I rescind all access. I return to divine jurisdiction. The judge is the consciousness observing the spiritual law. Understand that. Let's get this shit right. Stop fucking around. The infamous. It's love. It's love. I know what love is because it saved me. I know what love is because it saved me. Understand? I know what love is because it saved me. Dirty Carhartt wisdom. Know that. I know what love is because it saved me. But to get to the love, we have to get to truth first. Truth and love are at the height of heaven. You get the truth first, then you get to love. Because we can't be receptive to love without truth. The fire of truth, it has to purge us. Keep us pure. Because love makes us holy. Love restores the holiness in the self. It perfects everything that we do. It protects everything that we do. It preserves the promise. It bonds us in the covenant with God and His universe. It makes us impenetrable. We laugh at death with love. We laugh at any threat with love. But we will never know it if we don't know the truth. Stop fucking running. The baby was delivered by the doc tender, who we call the doctor. Understand? The baby was delivered by the doc tender, who we call the doctor. Ever since that time, signing 2, birth certificate, T-bond registry. Understand? That keeps de facto corporate state in full strength even since 1871, claiming that you, as the ship, as the freight, were lost at sea. And we know that when the captain of the ship boards the ship, he is announced as the ship. You. The claim, the assumption, is that you are dead at sea. You are doorknob dead, dumb and ignorant as it relates to maritime law status with yourself. Incorporated status with yourself. Trade law with yourself. Commercial law with yourself. Divine law with yourself. You're fucking dead. Don't know none of them. And don't wanna fucking know. You're dead. Who you are on earth and who you are in heaven is a mystery, and you don't give a fuck. Are there not consequences? Are there not going to be consequences because of the simple fact that it is optional to suffer such a status? Woe is me. Woe is me. President Lincoln was the last motherfucking president of this republic, America. And since then, United States is all you have known. Two worlds formed right from where you stand. How do you split reality right where you stand and divide yourself between those two realities right from where you stand? It presents a cognitive crisis, a disconnect between the ego and the spirit, the identity and the heart, first house, fifth house. And this goes back to Gemini. Gemini full moon intensity. The pressure is on to reveal these things to you in the past of how you have been a walking, living corpse of yourself in the flesh and in spirit, in civics and in divine status. Come forth, Lazarus. Life starts now. Take a print of the baby's soul, stamp it on the birth certificate, send it out like a ship into a violent sea, never to be known again who this life is. And the irony that the baby will grow up and not give a damn about who they are. Not have a single care in the world about who they really are. As long as you can get a check, as long as you can fill your stomach, get some pussy, sleep, wake up again, repeat. You don't give a fuck. Is that not a savage? And did they not tell you, even from the entertainment industry, that you are savages? Megan Thee Stallion, savage. You don't want to be civilized. No, you don't. You don't want to be man. You don't want to be woman. You want to be a product, a marketing scheme, a commercial, a transaction, a brand. But man, woman, no. You're estranged to that world, that reality. Don't know where to begin with learning what it really means. Ask the centaur. Ask the centaurs, plural. Sagittarius, Chiron. Pain reminds you of your humanity. It reminds you from whence you come. It reminds you that you do have a heart, that you do have a soul, and you should acknowledge it. That you do have light in the spirit, and you should acknowledge it. Because were it not for such, you would not feel such lasting pain. How terrible is it that someone is begging you to fight for your life? Someone is begging you to care about knowing who you are. I'm begging you to care enough to figure out who you really are, what your status is, and what the truth is of this life. To see through these illusions, and that you split yourself in dimensions, and one self has not been identified. The living self. This is not just sweet poems. The time that you sat alone and cried and felt sorry for yourself and told yourself it'll be okay. No, this is knowing who you really are. This is taking a 15-inch dick out your ass of this government. And finally breathing. Knowing what the truth is. It's a revolution in spirit and self. Everything about you is clarified through astrology. Everything's clarified. And what you don't know, you don't want to know because you didn't ask. You don't want to fucking know. You don't want the responsibility that comes with it, the work that comes with it, obligation that comes with it, accountability that comes with it. But how many complaints do you have? What is Gemini full moon closing for you? Huh? Come on, reflect. What is it closing for you? False narratives. What is it closing for you? The underdog. Limitations in perception. Living off of others' conclusions of how to interpret the reality. Inconsistencies, contradiction, and hypocrisy between the first and fifth house. Why is my heart not reflecting the first? Why is the first not reflecting my fifth? How do I incorporate the first and fifth as one in singularity, wisdom, and love? Why do I see the first and the fifth as a duality? Internal war. Where's the truth at? Where are clues to the truth? Come on, use your common sense. Where does your enemy not want you to look? Who do they want you to see as an enemy? Who do they want to vilify? Okay, there's your answer. There's your answer. Where's your fucking common sense? College degrees never saved anybody. Common sense saves people every day, every minute of the hour, every minute, common sense. If they're telling me that's the bad guy, that must be the good guy. If they're telling me that's the villain, that must be the hero. If they're telling me don't go there, that's probably my exit. This propaganda ends. The fear-mongering ends. The false narratives ends. The power of the internet and its falsehoods. Neptune Pisces transit is over and it no longer stands. I gotta see it for myself. I gotta experience for myself. Sagittarius. This runs along the line of certain religions that are being used right now collectively. The propaganda and the fear-mongering against Muslims, Islam, all it's going to do is make more people come to Islam, more people become Muslim. Where there is proper feminism, where there is healthy feminism, where there is productive feminism, feminism that does not suppress or oppress the family unit, nor does it oppress or disarm the woman. It is proper feminism. It is equity law. It is estate and trust emphasis of the individual national. It is revelation of the self as a free man or free woman. though it not be the all in all. It is a means by which we train the flesh to comprehend the possibilities of the spirit and how the flesh aligns and operates in best interest of the spirit. Thus religion, a Saturnian discipline, training the flesh and ego out of the way of the spirit. Being humble enough, sincere enough to know that I have to practice such to get those results. Ring around the rosy, I'm going around. It's abstract. It's abstract. Light your cigar, lay back, chill, and listen. Gemini full moon, those experiences behind you was based on a false person. It's based on a fictitious person. If this is true to your status, then what it means, okay, and take me smooth here, you heard? What it means is it's time to shut the fuck up and listen. It's time to get some experience. It's time to figure out how you're going to align with the truth, how you're going to disseminate with the truth, how you're going to embody the truth. Stop fucking around. False narratives, comfortable ideals that protects your ego and protects what you want to be true. And this has been an ongoing theme according to what gets revealed yesterday and today, emotionally and mentally, cognitive dissonance, a little confusion, traffic jam in the thoughts. You've been doing this all along. Wanting something, preferring something to go a certain way according to the information that you have stored into the false body. According to how you have been misinformed about how life works. How the laws of life works. Having to face the fact that you've been insisting on having it go your way instead of figuring out what the truth is. Trying to force fit it. And it don't go like that. So if you are in those stages of death and you realize it's time to come to life, you're going to need a teacher, an enlightener, a mentor, and demonstrator, someone who sets the example, referred to Surah Al-Kahf, Holy Quran, the story of Al-Khidr wa Musa. Surah Al-Kahf, Khidr wa Musa. We're coming out of the illusions of the fictitious character, the false self. And this is the mentality that went with the false self. Going along with all the narratives, going along with all the tradition, just going along with the hearsay, the noise, what everybody else is saying, what you're used to hearing, how you used to hearing it. When you gonna get it through your fucking thick ass skull? That truth is here. When will you get it through your thick ass skull? These nations were built upon, established upon falsehoods, narratives, theft, lies, pushed by Christian regimes. The system isn't broken. It's running exactly the way that it was designed to be, without you having awareness in it. Oh, you want to go to conspiracy theories? Nigga, you are conspiracy theory. You're walking fucking conspiracy theory. From the birth certificate to your fucking death certificate, you are a conspiracy. It never happened. Your whole fucking life never happened. Walking this earth and never once was true and living. This time it's supposed to change when you get the chance to be true and living, but you gotta brave it because it's only for the brave hearts. Weak ones won't make it. This Gemini full moon could run many people into a reality check where you could be saying to yourself, oh, I'm getting ready to, put this person on notice. I'm going to, run some facts and figures, and, I'm going to be teaching this person. I'm going to be explaining this to this person. And you get back into that Gemini past life energy that used to be validated of tossing regurgitation, facts and figures around. And then you run into Sagittarius fire. You run into Sagittarius power that's not impressed with that shit. You run into a Juno. Listen to what the fuck I'm saying. You run into a Juno appointed master. Nigga, listen to what the fuck I'm saying. You run into a Juno. Sagittarius Juno. Look at your fucking chart. You run into a Sagittarius Juno, Sagittarius master, who's not impressed with all that rambling, who has experience behind them, who's here to teach you and show you that which you did not understand. And you should humble yourself. Get out your own way. And this doesn't respect persons. The master may not be fashionable. The master may not be your choice teacher. The master may not be impressive or alluring to the eye. Fancy, decorated, all kind of accolades. All over social media going viral, collecting millions of dollars. Lights and gadgets, popularity. Booked and busy. No, the master doesn't show up that way. The master shows up humble, unexpected. The person you least expect was the master assigned to you. If you're in your own way, you'll miss it. You will miss it. When we walk, what happens? You put one foot in front of the other. You find your balance and you put one foot in front of the other, and then you find your stride. This is no different. When you fuck off on one step, the other step ain't gonna be right. So if you was fucking around, Scorpio shadow work, you're not gonna be able to make sense of who's manifest to you through Sagittarius power, who's meant to expand you. It could be the same person who's evolving with you from Juno to Scorpio, Juno to Sagittarius, Juno to whatever the fuck. But a soulmate is walking with your motherfucking ass. Have you identified him or her? Have you identified them? Have you come out of the matrix and into the reality, the truth realm, to detect them, to meet them where the waters part? Get out of your own way. I can't emphasize enough, we're getting back to the natural self. The law is equity. The law is trust. There's an order, there's a design to trust and equity. The identity has to be recovered into its proper status, the claim of its status. There are things we need to know, and it needs to become common knowledge. It's your job and it's my job to make sure that it becomes common knowledge. But the masters and the disciples are the ones who have to embody that knowledge, demonstrate that knowledge, and show the power of that knowledge as wisdom. That could be you. That could be me. There's work to do. Stop fucking around. The reality's coming out. Neptune and Saturn headed into Aries. The reality, the truth of what the status of man and woman is coming out. The system is over. It's done. But where do we go after it's done? What else is there other than all that we have known? This is the part that I'm trying to fucking show you. Before it happens, to get you prepared. We have to know and understand as it dissolves to prepare for the natural transfer. The transfer of what? The transfer of estate. They say the greatest transfer of wealth is taking place in this generation. That wealth is the estate to the beneficiary of the trust, which is you, who is also the operator and authorized executor of the trust, while they are the trustee who gives you the illusion that they are the executor and they are not. The infamous is given every drop of his being to try to get it through your fucking big ass fucking head, nigga. Y'all don't want to fucking listen. You think you got time? I don't play with astrology, nigga. It's not a fucking hobby, something to do. Sit down with my fucking little sisters and coloring books. Apply this shit. There's so many out there right now misrepresenting astrology, man. Making clowns out of this science. Laughing and fucking joking and cute shit and all. It's just talking about straight dumbass shit when it comes to astrology. Which is why nobody really takes it serious. Nobody takes astrology serious. That stops with me. I don't know about you, but we can do something about this. Saturn and Neptune transits to Aries. People who slept on all this, you know, it's going to feel like a prison it's going to feel like a confinement. It's going to feel like the government's overstepping the boundaries. It's going to feel like they violate, like, you know, oh, where are my rights? You know, that's not in the Constitution. And trying to push the race code agenda and polarizations and buying into all types of propaganda, fear-mongering, different things like that. And don't think that because you select what you want to hear and don't want to hear on the surface, that it's not affecting you if you don't align yourself with truth overall at the foundation and core of who you claim to be. That's in civics and that's in spirit. It is in civics just as it is in spirit. If you don't understand civics, you don't understand law, as relates to your identity, you lost in a fucking sauce, you're behind, and you will not catch up. You will be fucked up. Fucked in the ass with no Vaseline. You will. Everything's easier together. Much easier together. Constitution, all the screaming and yelling that people are doing. Oh, that's against the Constitution. Oh, Trump violating this. Oh, they ain't allowed to do that. Oh, that's good, stepping on our rights. Nigga, you ain't got no rights because you don't even know who the fuck you are. You don't know your status. You don't even know what to claim. You're not even aware that you're a fictitious character. You volunteered to be a citizen. 14th Amendment. So how the fuck are you claiming for rights with the Constitution when you are subject to those ideals through your own consent and authority? You opted out of it. But the bliss of ignorance has you not to know that, and you select not to know that because it's more comfortable and pleasurable in position of ignorance where you have no obligations. So all of your cries and your protests, it is futile. Oh, black people this, black people that, the white man this and the white man that. It is futile because as a black person, you refuse to claim nationality. You refuse to clarify exactly who you really are because there's no such thing as a black nation. There's no such thing as a nation called Africa America. There's no such thing as a country called Negro or colored. You dumb fuck. You're lost the moment you open your mouth because it reveals how fucking stupid your ass is. This is the shit we ain't got time for. When are you gonna get serious? We're coming out of the days of protesting, the days of rallies, the days of standing in front of offices with fucking pickets and goddamn fucking poster boards and shit that you scribbled on that ain't nobody even paying attention to. That shit is over. The only progress is in alignment with the actual reality and truth where the only claim is. Otherwise, there is no claim and there is no result. They're going to ignore your stupid ass. Oh, look at this dumbass nigga. He think he Negro, black, and colored. He think he African American. This dumbass nigga. Yeah, when you figure out who you are, then you come back and you claim. Yeah, okay. When you figure out who you are, then you come back and talk to me. I'm gonna ignore you stupid niggas. What reparations is there for a Negro, or black, or colored, or African American where they never even existed until after the Christian black codes? It wasn't even enforced until after the 1930s that we weren't allowed to be called Indians anymore. Indigenous natives, which we are, had nationality. Only as a national can you claim any damn thing. And if anyone refuses to give you rights according to constitution within your country, you have the right as a national to go to international law to claim your rights. Does this require protests, picketing, a bunch of damn noise, burning shit in the city, turning over cars, acting a damn donkey, twerking all over police cars and shit? No, you stupid fuck. It requires for you to finally be intelligent and to embody the intelligence that you work for, that you strive for, that you labor for, that you investigate and turn over. How long are we going to enjoy being fucking stupid? How long? A gun don't make you dangerous. Rallying up, trying to be a threat through ideals of revolution. Oh, we're gonna pick up guns and we're gonna fight back and Nigga, that don't make you dangerous. They got something for your ass. Your mind makes you dangerous. And you should always stay dangerous by staying aware. Stay healthy, stay dangerous, and stay full of love. These three things. Stay healthy, stay dangerous, and stay full of love. We can't do that being fucking stupid. This is the time where you need to find the teacher who knows what you need to know and understand about the truth of your identity about yourself. So you can embody it. So you can get ready for that transit through Aries, because the identity has to be expressed through Saturn and its strength, and not in its restriction and oppression. And that's up to you, to what you consent through, because guess what? You have a free will. We're changing the tradition on earth. We're changing how we express humanity in earth. From the birth certificate to the death certificate, we're changing it. The secret covenant, if y'all remember, maybe it's real, maybe it's not real, y'all. Listen up. An illusion, it will be so large, so vast, it will escape their perception. Those who will see it will be thought of as insane. We will create separate fronts to prevent them from seeing our connection. We will behave as if we are not connected to keep the illusion alive. Our goal will be to accomplish one drop at a time to never bring suspicion upon ourselves. This will also prevent them from seeing the changes as they occur. We will always stand above the relative field of their experience, for we know the secrets of the absolute. We will work together always and will remain bound by blood and secrecy. Death will come to he who speaks. We will keep their lifespan short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways so they will never see what is happening. We will use soft metals, aging accelerators, and sedatives in food, water, and air. They will be blanketed by poisons everywhere they turn. The soft metals will cause them to lose their minds. We will promise to find a cure from our many fronts, yet we will feed them more poison. The poisons will be absorbed through the skin and mouths, and they will destroy their minds and reproductive systems. From all of this, the children will be born dead, and we will conceal this information. The poisons will be hidden in everything surrounding them, what they drink, eat, breathe, and wear. We must be ingenious in dispensing the poisons, for they can see far. We will teach them that these poisons are good, with fun images and musical tones. Those who they look up to will help. We will enlist them to push our poisons. They will see our products used in the film, grow accustomed to them, and never know their effect. When they give birth, we will inject poisons into the blood of the children and convince them that it's for their own good. We will start early on when their minds are young and target their children with what they love most, sweet things. When the teeth decay, we will fill them with metals that will kill their mind and steal their future. Understand that? Now that was Rothschild Rockefeller, understand, allegedly. However, 2 Timothy 3, I want you to think about this, right? But mark this. There will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of the good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power. Have nothing to do with such people. They are the kind who worm their way into homes and gain control over gullible women, who are loaded down with sins and are swayed by all kinds of evil desires, always learning but never able to come to a knowledge of the truth. Just as James and Jabez opposed Moses, so also these teachers oppose the truth. They are men of depraved minds who, as far as faith is concerned, are rejected. But they will not get very far because, as in the case of those men, their folly will be clear to everyone. Hold your thoughts. Breathe, yeah? Breathe a little bit, you know what I mean? Hold your thought. Don't be surprised, the Gemini full moon, that your third house, circumstance, situation, reality, the context of that third house, that right here you can look with an eye of scrutiny at the self. And what question could arise is, I'm in contradiction to my heart based on local programming. And there's something at the ninth house that could expand what I realize my heart is ready to be receptive to. And that could be the story of finally going across the tracks, where your family has fear-mongered you or shamed you, or your community has fear-mongered you or shamed you out of exploring. Who's had strongholds, limitations over your mind, your perception, your thoughts, your preferences, your views, your beliefs, your convictions? What you've determined is good, bad, right, wrong. What third house influences? Third house also includes a particular cognitive disposition that you have. What's in there? That's in the way of your heart. Why do I say your heart? Because it's the fifth house and the first house that Gemini manifests. The alignment of the first and fifth house. So the third house stands in conflict. In retrospect, it stands in contradiction. Retrospect, it stands in hypocrisy, possibly. In retrospect, emotionally and cognitively, with the first and fifth house. So you want to consider the first and fifth house. Based on the first and fifth house, where's the story not lining up with what I've been getting from the third house? Where is the third house posing as a limitation to my first and fifth house? Rather it be my thoughts that I consent to, influences, local realities. Where am I communicating in square to that? Where am I communicating in contradiction to that? First and fifth house, Leo and Aries. Leo suggests where you were supposed to show up as the confidence, where you were supposed to show up as the person who transfers reassurance, where you're supposed to show up as, yes, everything's okay, don't worry, we're good. Where are you supposed to show up where people are supposed to get the confidence from you? Where they're supposed to get the reassurance from you, where they're supposed to know that they can do it, believe they can do it because you are present. Leo. Is that matching the feedback that you've been getting from the third house? Has the third house been supportive of that part of you, Leo and Aries? Has the third house been nurturing that part of you, Leo and Aries? Who's been close to you? Have they been fulfilling the responsibility of watering you properly, telling you you can do it, reminding you that you can do it, reminding you of who you are, keeping you in sight of who you are, not just blowing smoke up your ass, but really supporting you, pouring into you, encouraging you? Does your community need to change? Do you need to change your community or environment? Is it time to move on from that? Do you need to switch out who you're identifying with as your community, third house? Come on, it's a full moon Gemini. You're looking at the people who've been closest to you. Why haven't you watered me? Why haven't you supported me? Why haven't you appreciated me? Why haven't you helped me to remember who I am? Why haven't you lifted me up? You know, are you surrounded by jealousy, envy, hate, fear, limitations that's being projected? You know, ignorance? I don't know. Whatever the case may be. Have the people around you been taking care of you? Have the people around you been loving you as you need to be loved? Have the people around you have been supportive of you? Where is your support system? Where is your community? Third house. Is it time to use Sagittarius to go and find your tribe? To go and find your community? To go and find your people? And that sometimes start with getting rid of the motherfuckers that you know shouldn't even be fucking there. You know how many people just sit there like a dead fucking body taking up space? There are people around you who act like it's going to kill them to be supportive of you. Who act like it's going to take away from them to be supportive of you. Why don't we speak life into each other? Why don't we call the gifts in the perfection, the greatness out of each other? Why don't we do it? Why don't we do that? And are you guilty of that? Are you failing to nurture the people around you, to water the people that's closest to you? Do you go out of your way to find people to nurture? We should. I try to remember as often as I can who might need watering today, who might need to remember who they are today, who might need support today, who might need love today. I feel like I don't do it to the capacity that I know I'm capable of. But I've realized in myself over the years that it's what I should do. It's what I should actively be doing. If I know that it's important for me, it's important for somebody else. So if that's what I want and need, then let me do it. Some days, I will feel like I'm in a desert with myself, and not having the support I need. And my remedy is to reach out and find somebody who might need support just like I do, and lend them support. That's my solution. I don't know what your solution is, but my solution is when I'm in crisis or detriment to reach out and give. If I lack, I find a way to give the very thing that I lack. I know it sounds contradictory. I know it sounds crazy, but it just makes sense to me. If I'm lacking, let me give exactly what I'm lacking. If I'm lacking $500, let me give somebody $50. If I'm lacking, I'm supporting you. I'm with you. I got your back. I'm there for you. Isn't that the time where we realize the value of that the most? So why not transfer that depth of sincerity to somebody else who is feeling it in the same depth? That's what makes it sincere. That's what makes you mean it, is that the feeling. Why are we so fucking selfish? You have to put yourself in an environment where your first house and your fifth house is going to get feedback, positive feedback, encouragement, education, coaching, mentorship. Who are the qualified mentors for your first and fifth house? Sagittarius is mentorship. Mentors are not people that just gaslight you, swell your ego up, put you in delusion about, yes, girl, you look good. Yeah, girl, you doing it, girl, and all this. No, those are fucking enemies, believe it or not. If they're not sincere, those are enemies. Who are the people that give you valuable information, valuable insight into yourself? Who are the people that give you transformational insight and feedback into yourself? Who are the people that transfer experience over to you that serves as a basis for understanding and conviction and faith? Who are the people who really does have the power, the capacity to transfer love to you? And love is not just something that makes you feel good. It's something that it has the power to keep you in sight of truth and dignity and self-respect. Who are those people, or who is that person? Gravitate toward them, cling to them, stand with them, and make sure you give just as they give. Love them as they love you. Don't be afraid to love. Show support. Be humble. This is a time to get humble, so that we can be the student at any moment. Keep that receptivity of being the student. There are all the times where you think that you're being a teacher to somebody, and guess what? They're actually your teacher. There's times where you think that you're being a student to somebody, and guess what? You actually are their teacher. Don't overlook that. Because from Gemini, you think that you're teaching from the ethereal, you're teaching somebody else. But Sagittarius, from the spirit, they're teaching you. You think that your regurgitated information is something that is holding the value in the situation as you recite, as you speak, as you talk, as you overwhelm them, as you load them up with blah, 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 blah. But you might be talking to somebody who has experience that holds much more weight. Maybe not in the same subject matter, but in a way that you really need to receive it, that you didn't even realize. Something that you need to hear that you didn't even know you needed to hear. Something you need to consider that you didn't realize you needed to consider. Where is Sagittarius for you that gives you the context of what lessons you're supposed to be learning? Because that Gemini is being asked to calm down, sit down. That is your Gemini house expression of yourself. Like, chill out. Receptivity, expansion. What do you notice within yourself? Jupiter retrograde Cancer. What do you see inside of yourself? What did you notice? What do you realize? What are the opportunities within the self that you can expand? What are the opportunities? What competence can you transfer to the inner reality of the self through those who have experience over you? Where are the experienced people that can transfer value into you? You might have to go through a season of shutting the fuck up. Yeah. And it's not a bad thing. I remember my career as a union craftsman. In one city, they'll, do a protocol one way. We're trained to do it this way, we're trained to do it that way. I go to another city, they got a whole nother way of doing it. Oh, that's stupid, that's crazy, why would you do it like that? Well, in the city I just came from, this is the way to do it. Well, that's stupid, that just makes no sense. And then you learn that and you go to another city. Yeah, why would you do it like that? Yeah, that just makes no sense. That's just stupid. That's just backwards. Here's the only way to do it. Yeah, this is the only way it makes sense. So you do it that way, you do another way. And what you find is there are many ways to do the same thing. But you have to get your ego out of the way to be the student from time to time. And you have to let go of what you know, let go of what you think you know, and let go of what you already have mastered. You have to let it go. Because it doesn't hold relevance in the moment where you have to learn a particular way for a particular reason. Becoming the student over and over again, when you are a master of so many experiences, you learn to let that ego die so that you can continue growing and expanding. This was going to be I'm gonna say abstract. It's gonna be all over the place, but I think that's okay. You know what I mean? I'm good at, not having to expect uh, perfection in myself. Um, I know how to show up as I am. You know what I mean? South Node Sagittarius. I'm very familiar with Sagittarius energy over lifetimes, and I think I feel natural in this state. You know what I mean? With the stellium here. And so, just like the Sagittarius, I'm going to show up as is. Hair disheveled. You know what I mean? All over the place. Unshaven. You know. You're just going to do a little freestyle and walk down this. For all you out there who, might be a little sensitive and all those other things, you know what I mean? Y'all go find something else to do. Y'all niggas need to go, for real. I ain't got time for that shit. All the sensitive people out, I don't got time for y'all. Y'all just get the fuck on and find something else to do, you know what I mean? But for those who, want to, find what there is to maybe concentrate on or focus on with this full moon Gemini, I'm going to go over a couple of contexts here that does apply, and there are many layers to this, okay? There are many layers to this, and I'm just going to jog through a few of them so, we can have a basis of where we can do our own personal discovery and reflection on what's going on with Gemini. Now, Gemini, this duality, it does have to do with the contrast between the personality and the heart, the first house and the fifth house, Leo and Aries. Understand that, okay? The regeneration of Aries is through where? Scorpio, you guessed it, okay? Same thing with Leo, the sun, okay? It dies and it lives, just like the sun. It goes down and it comes back up. That's a Scorpio attribute, characteristic, or trait. Scorpio also identifies with Sagittarius, and that a Sagittarius cannot exist without Scorpio, because it is to recover the truth and align with the truth so that you can embody the truth. That is the cusp of Scorpio and Sagittarius. So without Scorpio, all of the fire signs don't mean shit. Understand that. That's where the conviction, the transfer of fire and conviction in the Scorpio signs or energies, are really based on how close they are to truth and authenticity. Understand that, and conviction. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, duality, with us dealing with duality, this full moon is showing not where you're going. It's not giving you a view of the future. It's shining a light on the past. It's shining a light on your patterns. It's shining a light on who you have been at your Gemini placement, who you have been through Gemini, third house algorithm, who you have been through that consciousness of Gemini, the curiosity that disseminates information, how you related to the overindulgence of information or narratives, gossip, headlines, things of that nature. What role did you choose to play with it? What position did you take based on that influence and considerations? And, how have you been assimilating, processing information and incorporating into your personality or into what you embody at the heart, fifth house? Understand? So all of these has to do with that. It also has to do with whether or not we have come to limitations or getting stuck when it comes to rising from duality into unity. Did we learn how to rise from duality in Gemini into unity? Because we have the responsibility to do that. We learned how to do that when Uranus was in Gemini. So did we suddenly forget now that it's back in Taurus? You see what I'm saying? So what is the duality crisis in Gemini? That is to rise to wisdom or love. It's one of the two. So when you see duality in your life where this doesn't make sense, this is a contradiction, this is terrible, everything's working against me, it ain't going right, yada, 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 it's because you're observing the duality of the matter. You're overemphasized in logic. You're indulged in logic and reason, the ethereal, air, divine masculine. You have not brought water with you. When you bring water with you, you're able to get to wisdom. When you bring water with you, you're able to get to love. Remember that. It's either wisdom or love. Wisdom applies to Taurus, things. Okay? Love applies to relationships, people. So in duality of context to people, where it seems like you're polarized with people, in opposition to people, in conflict with people, against people, so on and so forth, it's only because we didn't understand how to rise to love concerning those differences. When the circumstances reflects contradiction, contrast, conflict, trouble, problem, doom, destruction, darkness, yada, 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 okay? We didn't understand how to rise to wisdom in view of that. Wisdom, okay? Both owned by both of these situations reflective of Venus. Venus is in opposition to Gemini. Both things that I mentioned is Venus. Venus in Taurus and Venus in Libra. Venus in Taurus being the things. Venus in Libra being people. Okay, so as it relates to things and people, there are themes of duality that presents itself as a crisis for us to contemplate and reflect on who we have been consistently being through duality, and rather or not we missed opportunities to rise to singularity or unity through wisdom or love. Wisdom through Venus Taurus, love through Venus Libra, okay, also including second house, seventh house. So do we see crisis at the second house? Do we see crisis at the seventh house? And do we see the wisdom of that experience in the second house? Do we see the love of that experience at the seventh house? If we could see the opportunity through wisdom or love, then we could see that everything is being done for us, that we are part of a spiritual opportunity that is taking place. If we can seize it by getting ourselves out the way, getting our ego out the way, and not consenting to fear. Okay, because once we start doing those things, we step into control. We step into oppression. We step into fear-mongering. We step into suspicion. We step into doubt. We step into, associate and identifying with all types of, negative and toxic frequencies that spoils our fortune. Understand? Speaking of love and speaking of wisdom, I'm going to say very compassion, say with a lot of compassion and love. A lot of y'all motherfuckers out there, listen to the content, you can't even hit the goddamn like button. You don't know what goes into this shit. You know what I mean? Maybe you're just used to taking. You know what I'm saying? You can walk out on the sidewalk and fall on your dick, nigga. You can walk out on your sidewalk and fall on your fucking pussy. You know what I mean? Have some respect. Have some dignity. Like serious though. There ain't no Cash App symbols on my videos. There's no begging or panhandling. You know what I mean? There's no PayPal account symbols on my videos. You know what I mean? I don't be out here hustling niggas. And so, the level of ingratitude is something that really lets me know, who's out there. You know what I'm saying? So as you're going to hear me repeat over and over again, 256 ODU of Ifa, IFA. You can look that up. 256 ODU of Ifa, IFA. You can look that up. 256 Odus is consistent with 256 shadows that's on this channel. Understand that. And all y'all can step outside and run in front of a fucking bus, nigga. That ass. So anyway, to continue with my loving message. Now, with the Sagittarius stellium, what we will become aware of is that a meaningless life will present itself as simply boring. It would be misunderstood as boredom. When you hear someone who's always complaining, I'm bored, this is a person who is shallow. This is a person who has no depth. This is a person who is simple-minded. This is a person who has no root or foundation and purpose or identity. This is also a person who is too guarded in life. Boredom visits the shallow. It also visits the fraudulent in identity, the fictitious in lifestyle. Boredom. Your mind is not connected to life. Your heart is not connected to purpose. Your soul is not living. Because you won't let it live. So if we failed to do what we were supposed to do during the Scorpio 9-month shadow work, and that Cancer Mars transit retrograde, boredom is going to visit you as consequence of the fire of Sagittarius that is an algorithm for adventurous pursuit, curiosity, engagement, and you're not going to know what to do with it. And what comes behind that? Self-destruction. That fire then becomes hellfire rather than fire of freedom and liberation. And how does it turn into hellfire? Your own boredom leads you to self-undoing, self-destruction, which brings you back to the 12th house, and you will indulge in the very energies of the 12th house that puts you back into soul crisis. And that soul crisis will initiate your conquest for depth and meaning in yourself. Because you simple-minded and feeble-minded ass motherfucker. Gemini full moon. It's showing the trend of this mindset, if that has been you. We're on the other side of all narratives, all assumptions. We're getting on the other side of gossip. We're getting on the other side of hearsay. He say, she say, or they say, we say. Getting on the other side of all of that. And this is where truth is prevailing over falsehood. Falsehood can't stand here. There's a turn taking place where the global corporate status is no longer going to be able to hold on. Their time is up. This means the indigenous are going to have their justice in the earth. It can't be stopped. (1930s) federal census instructions in the 1930s. Specific instructions were given to classify all persons with any Negro blood as Negro, regardless of how small the percentage. The term Negro was capitalized in the instructions. Virginia's paper Genocide in Virginia, the Registrar of Vital Statistics, Walter Plecker, pursued a deliberate campaign to reclassify Native Americans as colored or Negro on official records, effectively erasing their tribal identities in the state's documentation. The 1930 update to the Racial Integrity Act specifically defined a colored person as anyone with even one drop of Negro blood. Legal definitions: the law explicitly stated every person in whom there is ascertainably any Negro blood shall be deemed and taken to be a colored person. This had to work with the Christian black codes and the status of non-descent. of who they would then call black people, who were obviously Asiatics, some of Moorish tribes and some of other indigenous native tribes, not just native tribes. Indigenous natives means they are of Asiatic blood descent, not just Asian descent. Asian descent are natives. Indigenous are Asiatic. There's a difference. However, they were to take the status of indigenous natives and place them in non-descent status, and this was even since 14th Amendment. That was part of how T-bonds were created through Rothschild, Rockefeller, the Khazarians, which did bail out the Vatican, first of all, they did. And 1871, when the Republic was transferred into a de facto state democracy rather than a republic, this context applied to everyone now that they had the T-bonds to back what would be the central bank ideal in moving fiat rather than currency, especially after Lincoln initiated the bankruptcy of the Republic. And this is the swinging gate of illusions of every person. It don't matter if you're white, black, whatever status you got, it don't fucking matter. This was the basis of the global illusion of who you are, the incorporated, dead, fictitious person. Even if, for example, if you were to consider IRS documentation, they often use the word decedent. Decedent, decedent. And decedent is a person who has died. Okay, that's what you're considered, a person who has died. Your corpse. If I ask you the question, are you a citizen? And you say yes, you're dead. If you don't understand what that is or what that means, I get it. I wouldn't expect you to. But I would hope that you would feel responsible enough over your dead corpse to find out where the living person is and who the living person is, to find it, clarify it, and claim it. Do you feel that responsibility? Do you feel that obligation to the living self? I'll ask you again, do you feel responsible to recover the true and living self? Says a lot about you how you answer. Believe that. It says a lot about you how you will answer that question. I think most of you don't give a shit, as long as you can chew the cud, drink some water, and be a mammal. That's sad. If that's the case. I hope that's not the case. But I'm really convinced that most, that will be the case. And it's sad. This story ends. We're the generation that's supposed to end it. We are the ones that's supposed to finally end this. This is what Khazarians and white settlers have done to the planet Earth and all the nations of the planet Earth. Their time is expired in this context of themselves. So it has to come now collectively, nationally, internationally, globally, all over the fucking world, is reconstitution of the self. Now, status correction has to take place. Proper standing has to be clarified. Awareness of our role in the trust of how this world operates outside of that wicked system has to be clarified. And we are returning to trust law and equity as empowerment to the people. That's our natural law, where we find our inalienable rights, and it is also the only place where we can have expectation to enjoy our rights through Constitution. It's in natural state, in true state, in authentic state, and not in fictitious consent. 14th Amendment. So we're coming to the awareness that gives us the clarity and empowerment, the authority to rescind the dark magic and witchcraft. Keep that in mind. I'm going to move around on this. Pay attention. This full moon Gemini phase, you got to think back to the Gemini Jupiter transit. You also have to think back to the polarizing Mars in Gemini retrograde, which was when the nation became polarized, and is the means by which polarization was initiated in the nations. It was when red and blue was clarified as oppositions. Masculine, feminine, boy, girl, right versus left, Republican versus Democrat, so on and so forth. Polarization. This is when Elon Musk purchased what was then Twitter and now X. Okay, this is when the civil war for the minds was intensified. Last time it was Sumter, South Carolina. This time it was Twitter. Understand? So this full moon is culminating that legacy that we lived through that was consistent with Uranus transit through Taurus 2018 on forward. It's culminating all of that. That was the buildup. 2023 was the mark of the Mars influence into that polarization concerning Gemini 22-23. Understand? Mars changes culture for every north and south node transit. Understand? So whenever north and south node transit switches in the 18-month transit, Mars is the one that changes the culture to fit the lesson. He adjusts the culture to be consistent with the theme of lesson in the north and south node. Don't forget this shit. Mars Gemini transit was polarization between divine feminine, divine masculine, Venus and Mars, the right and left, liberal conservative, Republican Democrat. Blue collar college graduates. Come on. And when Mars was retrograde in Cancer, the cultural learning catalyst was according to inner child work, inner child crisis, family, domestic, national, demographic, races, yes, cultures, ethnicities, as a basis of karmic lesson through the water trine that's consistent with South Node Virgo and North Node Pisces. And for all y'all motherfuckers out there who want to act like you on some moral high horse where you can't get involved with these lessons, where you can't indulge in these lessons, where you can't assimilate these lessons, where you can't unpack, investigate, study, learn, process, admit that yes, race got to do with this shit, demographic got to do with this, religion's got to do with this, your forefathers got to do with this. Bitch, what the fuck you think the fourth house is? What the fuck you think the fourth house is? Some of y'all think you so fucking righteous, you high and mighty, you on a fucking moral high horse. Oh, he's talking about race. Oh, it's so forbidden. Oh, he's talking about demographic, and he keeps bringing up white people and black people and all. You exposing yourself. You got the guilty conscience, motherfucker. That's why you can't talk about it. That's why you can't deal with the shit. Because you got a guilty conscience. You can't speak freely of it. Because you're not free. You're in bondage of your own racism in yourself. That's why you can't deal with it. Fuck out of here. The planets write the assignment on a fucking whiteboard. Clear for everybody to see what the assignment is. Whether you like the assignment or not, that's the assignment. And for 18 months, that's what the fuck you gonna be working on. And collectively, guess what? We got the same lessons. So it is about race, demographic, your forefathers, and what your forefathers did to the planet. What your race has done to the planet. What your nationality and demographic is doing to the society, to the planet, or what the legacy thereof is, or what there is to atone for, what there is to heal, what there is to correct, what there is to purge, purify, what there is to defend, what there is to appropriate, what there is to balance, harmonize, cure, prevent. Everybody has cuts, bruises, and scrapes. Everybody. Every demographic, every house. And on a local level, the same thing with your messy aunties, family members who've been carrying on lies and legacies of lies, misinformation, false narratives, abuse, disrespect, and whatever else through the bloodline that's been keeping tension, animosity, division, toxicity, generational curses going, and whatever else. It breaks here. It stops here. That's what this is about. And what better thing to follow feminism, South Node Libra? Come on. Use your fucking head. You got to go back to where the spirit of a lot of this stuff was fermented in toxic nature. Gossiping ass aunties with no men around. The smoke detector is constantly chirping and going off. Ain't no men around. Gossiping goes unchecked. Terrible behaviors go unchecked because there's no men around. Bitches is just destroying families, left and right. There's no men around. The children are all at the mercy of nothing but women, aunties, sisters, and daughters. God help them. God help the families who never had any men around. And the damage that shit did. We're healing that. Not to say that men didn't do damage, men didn't do some fucked up shit. But that's not the topic. South Node Libra, not South Node Aries. Stay with me. So the same way that there's false narratives, propaganda to work through illusions, lies, misconceptions, curses, and everything else that's on a national collective level through media. Yeah, many women and families were that same propagandic media that sold the same level of destruction and consent through fear, shame, guilt, and ignorance that seeded and propelled division and animosity between blood and families, alienated fathers, false narratives, and carrying on. Yeah, all that shit is being addressed. That's in here too. It's on a personal level too. Understand that? Full moon Gemini. I want you to examine this. This is consistent among many contexts, is consistent with, for example, you grew up all your life and your mother might have told you, yeah, don't go across the track to your mother's to your father's side of the family. They toxic over there, they negative, they do this, they do that. They be over there selling drugs and shooting niggas. They be selling crack. Yeah, I never wanted you going to that neighborhood. That was a bad neighborhood. So that's why I didn't want you to see your father, and yada, 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 yada. You grow up to see for yourself that she was full of shit. You grow up to see for yourself that the ongoing narratives that cause a division in families, that put one against the other, that made somebody look so bad. This is where you go to the underdog and you discover the story of the underdog, and you are set on fire at the truth of the underdog and what they have to suffer silently as the fake heroes paraded around like a fucking peacock because they were part of some agenda, part of a cult, part of some wicked organization, fraternity, or order based on politics and their status. This is where you go to the one who is written off as the villain and find out that they're really the hero. This way, where you go to the one who they used to call, who they used to laugh at, shame and accuse and throw things at and call a monster and have all these stories and legacies about, you know what I mean, being this evil gremlin down the hill who lived in a fucking tree. And you go to that person, you find out that case is actually true about the people who told that story about them rather than that person. This is where you see that the reverse is actually the truth. This is where you go to the one who the narrative was held against, and you find out the truth, and you see that the one who wrote the narrative is the one who is guilty of what they are accusing the other person of being. This way you finally go and walk with a Muslim, and it blows your mind what the real story was behind their life, and you see the truth of those who, push fear mongering and propaganda about Muslims and all this. Let me share something with you. I just finished seeing a headline about Israeli soldiers having the highest level of suicide rates in military in modern recorded history. Specifically, let me be specific, the IDF, okay? Now, they reported that they were going over to the Gaza Strip, policing and, doing renaissance and they come back and kill themselves. Why do you think that is? Okay, that's Gemini full moon. You finally go to see the other side of the perspective, the other side of the story of the one who people were calling a villain, of the one who you were made to think, who you were brainwashed to think, who you were taught to think, who you were manufactured to believe were monsters, villains, bad people, so. Or you were made to think that what you were doing or what you were striving for was something good or right or true or authentic. But you get to the other side to see the results of what you have done, the results of what you sided with, the results of what you have associated yourself with or paired with. And your conscience can't handle it. It can't handle it. This goes back to the karma, active karma, Saturn direct, of Pisces, Saturn and Pisces. Yeah, you go off yourself because you can't handle the active karma of what you have done. They're going over there seeing little babies. You know what? They're going over to see up under, the concrete, the stone, the death and destruction and violence and bloodshed that they have caused and that they were trained to do, that they were brainwashed to do, that they were put up to do. And the humanity in them, the human, if there's human in that motherfucker, it can't handle it. You can't handle that. So you take yourself out. I ain't bullshitting. Y'all niggas think I'm bullshitting about what the fuck I've been talking about. This really is a purging of the subconscious. Come on. Among many things. Make sure you keep listening. Make sure you keep listening. So this full moon phase over the next 6 months, we're going to get a glimpse of things that we haven't been receptive to, haven't been open to, haven't been interested in learning, realizing, seeing, and knowing because of the held narratives that we've clung to, and it's going to humble us. And those experiences are going to come through Sagittarius. Those realizations are going to come through Sagittarius. Realizing that what you thought you knew, you didn't know. What you were told might have been a lie. What you subscribed to and believed in could have been very false. And it could also go the opposite, where you're the one who's blessed to be in position to demonstrate that to others. Understand? Oh, you no good ass daddy. Your daddy ain't shit. Yeah, your daddy ain't shit. Yeah, he ain't shit. Yeah, he did this and he did that. But you get over there to see for yourself and you find out your mama ain't shit. She the one that wasn't shit. Yeah, and this happens on a collective level too. Who's owned the narrative since the Obama era? Really, since I've been alive. I'm 42 years old. Who has owned the family narrative? Women have always owned the family narrative. Always. Through and through. They own the family narrative. Whatever story they tell, whatever they said happened, whoever they say is a bad guy is a bad guy. Don't argue it. Whatever they say happened is the truth. And if they're crying, you can't question them. But the truth is coming out. Pluto is out of bounds. Pluto is in Aquarius on top of that. We are in the outer rings of Saturn, not inner rings. Oh, we are going to test all theories. All theories are going to be tested. And all powers will be tested. And it's two powers. The power of feminism and the power of corporate inappropriation. Corporate spreads across secret societies and everything else. Any dark number 8 energies. Understand? So yes, examination is here. Sagittarius is to see the other side of those narratives, to verify the truth in such things. This is where people who have enjoyed oppression, disrespect, you know what I'm saying, false narratives, manipulation, generational curses, and so on, all that negative shit. The opposite, now the underdog comes on top, and the one who is on top goes on bottom. That's what's happening right now. It's going to switch. And this includes collectively females. Females in society who subscribe to feminism. Those who subscribe to feminism, they gonna find their ass on the motherfucking bottom. Their narratives out the door. Ain't nobody believing that shit. Ain't nobody hearing that shit. Their false claims, their talking points, the leverage of, oh, I got a college degree. That nigga ain't shit. Oh, he was a narcissist. Oh, it was his fault. Oh, I left him because he wasn't no good. Yada, yada, yada. Yes, some of these things may be true for some people. But nobody's going to sit here and pretend like there haven't been sweeping indictments and legacies of culture that reign these false narratives and smearing campaigns on the innocent men. The underdog story comes out. The truth comes out. And nobody's going to believe the bulletins, the headlines, the college graduate, the person who starts their speech with, I have a doctor's in such and such. Nobody's going to listen to any of that stuff no more. That's dead. It's over. Truth better be behind you, or you're dead water. Watch and see how families heal now. Watch and see how unity starts to unfold. Because the secret society of feminists, they're going to find that their collective power no longer works. They're going to have no choice but to find out what it means to be authentic finally, to be sincere, and to start from virtue and moral and not narrative. They're going to have to come to the truth in themselves that there's no sisterhood that's going to save you from your lies, your exaggerations, your smear campaigns, your destruction of other people's reputation, your division of families, your oppression of children, your murder of children, alienation of men or fathers. None of that it's not going to be gotten away with anymore. All of that is going to come to a head over the next 6 months. All of that's coming to a head. Because Sagittarius is to see the other side. People are looking at the other side now. Whatever the narrative was is what they ain't entertaining no more. Now it's what was the narrative against? Who was the narrative against? And as you can see, this is consistent with the revolutionary mindset. A rebellious streak, a Uranus, it's a uranium disposition. It's like to view the world through Uranus. If everybody tells you don't go over there or don't do that or don't sit with that person, that's exactly who you're going to sit with, and that's exactly what you're getting ready to do. Because somebody told you not to do it, that's your reason why you're going to do it. The world is no longer controlled, ruled, or owned by women's claims. They're not under the spell anymore of feminists. They're not under the spell anymore of pretty girls and, you know what I mean, females who wield so much influence over society. That spell is done. People are sober now. They're going to have a hard time tapping into that power source. If you're not coming from truth, authenticity, realness, you're going to have a hard time from here on out. Very hard time. With this discourse, I realize, I'm all over the place. I didn't prepare the thought. I'm just, I'm just freestyling with it. But this Gemini full moon, this is a big deal. It's a lot to this. It really is a whole lot to this. Wherever you had underdog stories in your life, that turns the other way too. Mars has made its way to the opposite end of your chart. From Gemini to Sagittarius, he's made his way around since the peak of that Uranus-Taurus transit, 2022-23. He's made his way around. Fear issues a warrant. We learn this in Pisces, at least we were supposed to, that fear is what issues a warrant. If we can find the awareness, we can revoke it. If we can brave aligning with that awareness, we can revoke it. We can maintain a status of freedom and authority. The point is to garnish authority unconsciously from you. That's the point. To obtain it unconsciously from you. How many years did it take for you to understand what consent really means? And when will you admit, when will you see, when will you realize, when will you sit down and reflect on the fact that the term consent, read out of a book, where you first heard it when you had the big ass head in kindergarten, or third grade or fifth grade, whatever you heard the fucking word, you didn't know what it meant. When will you be adult enough, responsible enough to admit to yourself you don't know what consent is? Let's start right there. When you gonna stop shitting yourself? See, you're pissing me off. You're pissing me off with this shit. When you gonna stop fucking around and admit you don't know what consent really is? When we gonna put the pieces together and see that as law is in land, so it is in spirit? Your authorization is the only authority. Your power is the only power. Your consent is the point of leverage. There's no warrant to confiscate the status of your being, of your spirit, without your fear, subconsciously. They could take control of your imagination, and you're not aware of it. Program you at will, and you're not aware of it. Look at feminism. It exposed women, no matter how many college degrees they got. Majority expose themselves as dumb as a box of fucking rocks. It exposed me, it exposed you. Dumb as a box of fucking rocks. I don't care what you know or think you know. Why don't you know that? The fact that somebody's so easily able to obtain and access consent out of you, and you didn't even know it. You wake up from a nap and your ass is wet and you don't know why. Yeah, that's what they doing to you. This is what Pisces is all about. Who wet in your ass, nigga? Yeah, find out who wet in your ass while you sleep, nigga. You act like you like it. You keep waking up from a sleep with the honey bun on the bed. But you don't know what happened. And you don't even care to investigate what the fuck happened. Pause. Fear issues the warrant. Awareness revokes that fucking warrant. The mission is to unconsciously obtain authority from you, consent from you. Propaganda, fear-mongering, false information, false narratives. The use of women as access to your emotional body. The use of women to drive and push commercial agendas that succeeds in this. You're not going to acknowledge how powerful ass and titties is in society? How much money it can generate, how much power it can move, how much influence it's able to instantly obtain, how many men's brains it's able to turn off instantaneously? Titties and ass? Who owns titties and ass? Women do. So if I can own her imagination, Pisces, if I can control her and make her think that the control is a favor to her, which is the psychology of a pimp, I own the commercial world. I own it. The commercial world is mine. Women are lords of the commercial world because they own its influence. They own the influence to consumerism. They own the influence to politics because they are matriarchal archetypes. There's a reason, there's an interest, there is a prime value in taking ownership of the imagination of women. What better way than feminism? Playing with the sentiments and sensitivities, their ego, their identities. leaving the consequences and destruction of it to them and the curse in their own house, while reaping the benefit, the gain, the reward, cashing the check, the fiat that transfers from their own self-destruction. But the infamous is the enemy, huh? I'm the fucking problem. Where's the power really at, people? Status correction. Status correction. There's power in status correction, is what I've been trying to emphasize here. Come on. Aries is going to host Saturn. Aries is going to host Neptune. What the fuck do you think that is? It's about status correction. Status of who? Status of the self. The identity. I am. Who are you? And do you find contradiction in who you have been? Gemini full moon. Who are you? And is there contradiction in who you have been or who you are being? Being Sagittarius. Being Sagittarius. Who you are being. There's power in proper standing, therefore. Proper standing. Proper standing always reflects status correction. You correct status towards proper standing. That clarifies estate and trust, jurisdiction. Because you are free. Trust law and equity is under the jurisdiction, the dominion of Scorpio. These are the things that we were supposed to be learning. How to get to the power. The power of the true self, the true and natural self, the authentic self, the living man, the living woman. Coming out of the Pisces illusions. I do not consent to false judgments. I'm here to correct the record. And I stand as a living man. I stand as a living woman. Do you know how much power is in that? If you didn't learn nothing else concerning Pisces, if you forgot everything, that'll save your ass right there. I do not consent to false judgments. I do not consent to false judgments. This is in spirit as it is in flesh. Judgment is something that has already been ruled. Put on record concerning you and your status, or reflecting your status with law, and whether or not there are violations, dues, injuries, or offenses. Harm or damage. Is it true of you? I do not consent because there are assumptions always on you. It is always assumed if you are not one who is actively aware. It is always assumed. Why become the assumption of something or someone else rather than the claim of yourself in correct status, in proper standing, and clarity and awareness of your role in the ideal of trust? These are 8th house things. Somebody out there gotta hear me. 256 shadows, 256 lurkers, 256 old dudes. Promises me 256 lights. Understand that, nigga. Fuck out of here. Understand that. I do not consent to false judgments. I correct the record. And I stand as the living. Record refers to past contexts, past timelines, past lifetimes of myself. I correct based on my authority. I have the authority to correct. I correct the record. What don't you understand about that? I do not consent to false judgments. I correct the record and I stand as the living. I ain't fucking dead. Civilis mortuus. Corpse status. 14th Amendment fictitious incorporated identities. Lost at sea. I'm trying to show you to your living self. Can you hear? The living man, the living woman. I correct the record and I stand as the living man, the living woman. The living man, the living woman comes from the matriarchal source, the matriarchal foundation, the matriarchal beginning. Thus, Cancer Jupiter expanding, a recovery from descent through feminism and corporate greed. The moral descent through feminism and corporate greed. Destruction of the family through feminism and corporate greed. Alienation of the identities. Alienation of the self from its humanity through feminism and corporate greed. Reclaiming the status of the self as true and living out of the illusions of feminism and corporate greed. If you don't like the fact that I'm pointing out feminism, get the fuck out. It ain't free. It don't cost you nothing. It's free to get the fuck out. Take a walk, jerk. Have we learned these things? Or are we fucking paying attention? It's time to revoke all claims on the self. Revoke all false claims on the self. Resend all access. Resend it. Resend all unauthorized access. Return yourself to divine jurisdiction. Revoke it. Take it back from them. And resend access. You're being called back to divine jurisdiction in yourself. Divine status in yourself. You're being called to it. There's a reason why there's a blockage. There are limitations and constraints placed on all pathways to repeat. Routes back to South Node Libra and Capricorn Pluto. Access denied because God is protecting you. That's the mercy of the Most High to close those gates and portals so that the divine self can be realized. You have no choice but to face your divine self. Gemini full moon, it closes the legacy of that split of the self concerning the first house and the fifth house that you devoted to, either feminism or corporate ambitions. Feminism and corporate ambitions, or being subject to the inappropriate powers of feminism and corporate ambitions. And corporate ambitions is consistent with patriarchy. Inappropriate expression of patriarchy. Inappropriate expression of patriarchy. Repeat myself 3 times. I'm up here sounding like fucking Umar Johnson and shit. Y'all niggas ain't fucking listening. Scratching your ass, eating fucking noodles and shit. The fuck? This full moon Gemini is exposure. Exposure is its opportunity. What's being exposed by the full moon light, the full moon illumination, is your Gemini status. The Gemini status is it's split. It's split between the heart and the head. I want you to think about that. There's a split between your ideal and your being. Every duality on your chart, especially at Pisces and Gemini, there's splits here. And there's the crisis of you trying to please both at the same time. Serve both at the same time. Why? Got to take it back to Gemini. What did we learn during the Gemini-Jupiter phase? Gemini-Jupiter. What did we learn? That's when we were learning to manifest duality into unity, singularity, wisdom or love. With Gemini is wisdom or love. With Pisces, it's understanding, compassion, singularity of light, the many frequencies of light that bears into one. These were exercises. The exercises of Gemini, Jupiter, Saturn and Neptune, Pisces, and of course we include the North Node. So what the full moon is doing is it's showing you the track record, the end result. It's showing you the image that you held through duality and the crisis that it presents, the contradictions that it presents in yourself, and the hypocrisy that it could lead you down if you don't regain a strategy toward unification in the self, in your theologies, in your beliefs, in your self-perception and self-concept, in your convictions, in your thought process, you have to bring them together and unify them. It's a fracture in yourself. And something yesterday and something today showed you that. It exposed you to it. This could usually be in not seeing a desired outcome on an intimate level. Wish unfulfilled. And rather or not, it's because of me or you or I or them. I give you that. It could be both. But what's really supposed to be understood here is there's a duality that we have a responsibility to evolve in a unity. And what does that do? It releases what's not in our power or jurisdiction. It sharpens the focus and contrast on what is in our power and jurisdiction according to our identity and status that we were to claim out of the illusions. I've been trying, y'all. I have. I've been trying, with this illusions of the self. I've really been trying. Maybe somebody out there's listening. I don't know. I'm not exempt from these lessons. I'm not exempt from the contradictions. I'm not exempt from the hypocrisy. I'm not exempt from any of this. I'm just like you. I just happen to be destined to understand how to explain some of it. Doesn't make me exempt. This is what we're going through. Right now, what you are dealing with is conflict, cognitive dissonance with Scorpio, and the duality that's posed between Scorpio and Sagittarius, that cusp. And it's reflected at Taurus and Gemini. It's reflected there. Taurus, your values, what you say or claim is your values. Gemini, identity, personality, heart and head. Your knowledge and your wisdom, your perception and your conclusion. Your intention and your actualization. Everything about yourself that poses potential for contradiction, that poses potential for inconsistency. Anywhere where there is possibility for a split in motive, intention, ideal, status. Gemini. Okay, let me speak in English. At Scorpio, we were supposed to align with truth. We were supposed to endure the dark find the resilience to get real about what we were being shown in Scorpio. Some harsh realities, harsh truths, in order to clarify what we were to align with, to brave whatever it was to take, to stand in acceptance. Facing the disillusionment, contemplating the disillusionment, respecting the disillusionment, no matter how painful it was to the ego, to the psyche. And what did I warn? Come on, what did I tell you? If you skip these steps and rush your ass into Sagittarius, you're going to run smack into the crisis that you could be feeling right now. The crisis with the self feeling like a walking contradiction. You might say, okay, what's the infamous talking about with walking contradiction? Not having the ability to embody who you say you are. Not being able to produce, show, and prove the evidence that you are who you are. You're not feeling connected to it. The love that you're ready for is not there. The intimate connection that you feel prepared for in yourself to receive, to be receptive of, you haven't prepared it. Why isn't it there? It's back in Scorpio, where you split yourself in order to what? To cope. And when there's the splitting, it's between Pisces and Gemini that you pass parts of yourself out, fragmented, in hiding places. Is Pisces not your concept of yourself? Your self-concept? Is Saturn not the accountability that should go with that? In memory of what has bared guilt on your conscience? What did you learn about things that bear guilt on your conscience? Did you go the full process of healing that included confession, seeking forgiveness, atonement, all of which are active principles? Did you actively practice these things with yourself and then reflect that in how you showed up with other people in that same spirit? What did that do? It cleared the conscience and it expanded trust. It expanded enthusiasm, clarity, receptivity, imagination, creativity. And what does that do? It expands clairvoyance. Good intent. Overall, it unifies all frequencies. And all frequencies are the differences in other people that seem like contradictions, opposition, challenges, enemies, conflict, different beliefs, different theologies, different ideologies. There's tolerance in bringing the colors together, only to realize red, green, blue, purple, orange yellow, no matter what the color, they all came from white light, and they are of singularity of white light. It's the bending of white light that bears the frequencies. No matter how different we seem, we're still one, which exposes the lie. But in Scorpio, did we brave the courage to expose the lie in the self that we conform with, that we adopted, that we attribute it to, that we condone, that we enabled, that we helped, that we practiced cowardice behind, that we didn't want to deal with, that we vilified others for, that we made others enemies because we didn't want to process or deal with it. It could have been truth about self. It could have been truth about the fourth house reality that you come from, your demographic, your status, the family you come from, the relationship you're in. There are hard truths that we were supposed to deal with, that we were supposed to accept, that had ties to the self and what we were enabling, promoting, nurturing. It's the part of self that hid in shadows, that identified with the dark, fragmented. The curse is over once there's awareness. At least the authority is. It's a warrant. If someone issues a warrant for you, they have authority to confiscate your body and take you to a fucking jail. But when there's a warrant for the spirit, fear is what makes the warrant for the spirit. When you subject to fear, the warrant is authorization to confiscate the status of the self, the identity of the self, the power of your heaven, the dominion of your heaven, your imagination, Pisces, and your being. This is soul entrapment through warrant, and warrant through your own authorization. Why? Because you're still not aware of your consent, are you? The thoughts that you consent to, ideologies, beliefs that you consent to, and the idea that running away from it is the way not to deal with it. Ignoring it, pretending like it has nothing to do with you, and it does. I could just keep doing what I've been doing. I don't have to change anything. I don't have to do any work. Yeah, I hear what he's saying, but I'm good. I'm different. Yeah, okay. Why did it catch up to you yesterday and today then? Why is it whooping your fucking ass? Because you're different, huh? No, you're not. Fear issues the warrant, and awareness, it rescinds the warrant. Thus, Scorpio retrograde in timeline of Saturn direct, in presence of Neptune in Pisces. The imagination, the mind, the depth of the mind, of the imagination, that which is within the activities and the territories of Mercury, that which is behind the activities and territories of Mercury, the depth of that. Mercury is just the face of what's behind that depth. But to get into the depth, the inner workings of the back of that mind, the bottom of that iceberg. Pisces, what's really driving your mind? What's really driving your personality? What's really driving you, Pisces, in all of the fear of your 12th house? What are you afraid of? What do you fear? Sagittarius, it feels like you're standing in incompetence if you didn't get there through success in Scorpio. Just trying to tell you. It's like I'm here, but I don't know why I'm here. I don't feel it. Yeah, because Scorpio and Sagittarius, one rises to the other. It's the resurrection of the firebird. But if you never allowed yourself to become the firebird, Sagittarius makes no sense to you. It's a place that only makes sense to the truthful, to the free, to those who just got out of jail, who just broke free from prison, who just snapped their way out of bondage, fought their way out of bondage. That's who Sagittarius makes sense to. It makes sense to the one who braved truths. It only makes sense to the one covered in blood, covered in sweat, covered in tears. If you didn't make it to Sagittarius while drenched in blood, sweat, and tears, Sagittarius ain't gonna make sense to you. The whole transit, you ain't gonna know what the fuck it's about. You're just breathing. What do we all learn in Scorpio? The control that we are obsessed of, that we are obsessed for, that we wanted so bad, it contradicted our longing for intimacy. Every motion for control was a negation of intimacy. And that too was part of the splitting of the self. The part of yourself that wanted so much control, and the part of yourself that was deprived of intimacy, therefore. And in Sagittarius, the self makes no sense because intimacy has to be the background of Sagittarius. I can't enjoy this amazing food if there's nobody to give my reaction to. Yeah, I had amazing experiences, but what is it if I can't tell my story to someone who's very special or important to me? What good is it to see these things, taste these things, feel these things, do these things, without sharing every experience? That is Gemini. That is the basis of Gemini. The basis of Gemini is access to intimacy, the beginning of intimacy. It is where intimacy begins. In air. And air has different jurisdiction than earth and water. What law rules earth? Trade. Right? What law rules water? Maritime. Commerce. What law rules air? It is divine law. Starting in air. Gemini. We become aware of the value of intimacy. That nothing means anything if it can't be shared. Nothing has value or maintains value if it cannot be shared. Where are you to share from? The sun placement. Your natal sun. That's where there's sharing that you intimately crave. Why aren't you there? What happened? You left it in Scorpio. You left it in Pisces. You left it in Cancer, the water trine. That maritime commercial law over the spirit where intimacy was to be given life. We had 3 points of work to do. Clearing the conscious, Pisces. Reconstituting the inner child with the self, Cancer. Releasing control in order to welcome intimacy, to nurture intimacy, Scorpio. The water's supposed to flow from one to the other, 4th, the 8th, the 12th, 4th, the 8th, the 12th. It's supposed to flow. Why isn't it flowing? What's blocking it? What's in the way? Come on. You remember I brought up the collective demographic subject matters. Yeah, I know they're heavy. You know, things that each of our demographics, we all got something to deal with. Ongoing legacies of curses, shame, guilt, real fucked up shit that we're putting into the water from our houses. And no matter what demographic you are, you're polluting the water system. You're supposed to come clean about it. You're supposed to admit it and come clean about it, confess about it, and then actively work to clear your conscience about it. In doing that, it translates to a responsibility locally. First to yourself, that I'm going to reflect, I'm going to be the corrective image of this, the corrective status of this, the corrective culture of this, the corrective mindset of what I see is wrong with my people. And then I'm going to invite others to those results. You see how I said that? I'm going to invite others to those results. In doing so, something reflects off of not only our compassion, our talents, our gifts, our skill, our experience, our wisdom. It also reflects in common cause and purpose that was supposed to envelop us in love and trust. What restores trust more than collective demonstrations of righteousness? And what is more realistic as righteousness than the healing of the houses, the healing of the homes, the healing of the fourth house, the healing of the Cancer status mutually between each other after we have done so in the self? What demonstrates righteousness and trust more than that? Righteousness ascends to trust. Cancer ascends to Scorpio in the trine. And then there's unification, Pisces, based on these things. But if we don't have an active commitment in the water, it is lifeless. Water is the basis of life. Air is the essence of life. So if we're not rolling our sleeves up in those places, you're not going to feel the fire of the fire trine. Why? Because there's nothing to create. Because you ain't about shit. Everything that you're supposed to be about, you dodged it conveniently to enjoy the bliss of ignorance, your own little world. I'm going to go over here now. I'm going to pick flower petals. I'm going to go finish scratching my ass. Whatever. There's something we're supposed to be feeling right now in the spirit, in the blood. And it came from the water. Now it's being exposed in the air. The air is what? Your relationships. Gemini, relationship with the self and self. In the mind. Libra, relationship with self and others. In the mind. Aquarius, relationship with self and society. In the mind. Ethereal. Do we understand? Relationships. We're fragmented in our relationship status. So there's not a singularity to concentrate intimacy. So it's dull. It's dead. It's a contradiction as well. Hypocrisy is being exposed in the self. Reoccurring lessons coming around, but we're not paying attention to what we're supposed to learn because we're looking for convenience. Your lesson is your fucking lesson. And if you're in the middle of your lesson and you're looking at the clock, oh, I can't wait till this is over. I can't wait till this passes. Oh, I can't wait to overcome this. Oh, when is this over? When will this stop? When will this? It will when you fucking learn. When you get interested in learning what the fuck it's about. Why are you going through this? When you get zealistic and interested, when you get a hot one in yourself about taking ownership of what you're assigned to fucking learn, why does it keep coming around? And different people, different personalities, different situations, different circumstances, but the same fucking lesson over and over. Goddamn again. Goddamn. But you in a rush to get to what? Peace? Do you know what peace is? Or once again, are you lying to yourself? Do you really know what peace is? The bliss of ignorance is not peace. It's not peace if your subconscious is screaming at you that there's something you were supposed to be doing, but you're not fucking doing. And it keeps presenting itself in front of you over and over again, a recurrent cycle, over and over and over again. The same thing over and over again keeps showing you, asking you, begging you, can you please do this work? Yeah, it's that Scorpio. You're right. It's that Scorpio. Scorpio in 8th house. What do you know? Sagittarius, 9th house. There's something unique about Sagittarius in 9th house when there's an emphasis here. You see? And what that is getting the expanded view. And when we're getting the expanded view, what we know means nothing. What we know becomes irrelevant. What we know is not important anymore. I know you know this, I know you know that. But in this moment, you don't know shit. Yeah, that's Sagittarius. The Sagittarius reality. Suspense. I don't know what a bathroom is. I don't know up from down. How do you do this? How do you do that? I don't get it. It means you're a student. And your spirit is humility. Get used to it. Get out of your own way. Don't let your victim, don't let your ego fuck you up. You're in the new. You don't know the next step. You don't know the way forward. Uncertain. It's a fool's journey. It's a fool's card. New experiences. See, Gemini full moon, it shows you where it was not serving you to walk this earth acting like a fucking college student. This is where the whole college student theory goes to shits. America is a place where people worship college degrees. They worship the idea of going to universities and colleges. It is worshipped. Degrees are worshipped. With all the education that we have in this country, it's arguable, rather or not, we still have access to actual wisdom. College education, college degrees, being well versed with facts and statistics, and regurgitation of information that you have Googled and looked up online. Numbers, facts, and figures. Like G.I. Joe said back in the day, knowing is half the battle. We are coming out of the Pisces Neptune generation, where regurgitation of information, regurgitation of facts and statistics and data and analysis and study says, study suggests, well, they did a study that, study says, study, that shit don't hold fucking authority no more. It don't mean a motherfucking thing. Shove it up your ass with no Vaseline. Don't mean shit. It's finally exposed. Full moon Gemini. All this fucking smart talk. You turn the camera on your face and you got people regurgitating like a motherfucker out here. Nobody's coming from the heart. Nobody's coming from the spirit. Nobody has processed information and disseminated information into understanding or wisdom. Nobody has been objective enough, critical thinking enough to teach effectively. It's just recitation. Monkey see, monkey fucking do. Read off a paper, read off a script. Memorize, memorize, memorize. Speak proper, maybe they will believe me. This is part of what's being exposed, and rather or not we have indulged in or identified with that state of being. And what this full moon does is it shows us where we have to come to a full stop with that energy, because it can't go into the future, because this ain't like Aquarius. And that's where Pluto's at. That's where the power's at. Oh, why don't my power work? Damn, this shit ain't turning on. Because the power's in Aquarius, ethereal, emphasizing, not Gemini. Gemini is where we have to get revelation. We need a new way to challenge thought. We need a new way to challenge theory. We need a new way to examine and test and disseminate information. Not collegiate study. Not the fucking college campus. We're a bunch of proper speaking dumbasses walking around reciting and regurgitating shit that they don't even know how to assimilate or reach critical thought with. Full fucking stop. On the upper side of Sagittarius, when you get to the truth, what do you got? You got the sailor with white hair, missing teeth, wrinkles, bruises and cuts, a missing fucking finger. And the stories that he could tell you to shut your college attending ass up about how to sail a fucking ship. You got the new graduate superintendent, steps on a job site, don't even know how to use a fucking porta-john. What is a screwdriver? What's a pallet jack? Oh, well, how do you put this strap on the rig? Do I put it here or do I put it right there? Can't put a shackle on a fucking nylon strap. Never sat in a seat of a forklift. Never laid next to his coworkers on a pallet of plywood, eating a sandwich for lunch, still drenched in sweat. Don't know nothing about the world, but because you came out of college, you fucking know everything. Because you was turning fucking textbooks? No, let the guy in the Carhartt attire with cigar burns and fucking rust stains, paint stains, welding slag all in his coat, boots turned over from constant action, walk with a limp because his body's been wore the fuck out. Well, maybe he could tell you what a screwdriver looks like. Maybe you should shut the fuck up. Experience now comes up. Assumptions, conclusions, regurgitation, your little research. Sit the fuck down. Student teacher dynamics. If you don't have experience, shut the fuck up. If you have experience, find someone to compassionately share it to. Help someone to catch up and understand what you have suffered to come to understand. What you have not experienced, you are not authorized to teach. Shut the fuck up. If you have not gone through it, if you have not seen it, if it didn't whoop your ass over and over again, if it didn't make you bleed, cry, or sweat, shut the fuck up about it. Don't open your mouth. Because you can't speak on shit you ain't fucking lived. Otherwise, it's not wisdom. And we're in the age of wisdom, nigga. Not your fucking college courses and the regurgitation of your fucking information that you don't know how to assimilate or think critically on. Ask Charlie Kirk, nigga. Wisdom and knowledge are two different things. This is the story of Khidr and Musa. Al-Khidr and Musa. Holy Quran, Surah Al-Kahf. This is the axis, Sagittarius and Gemini. Experience comes to the forefront. Experience takes authority. Experience takes precedence. Experience is called to the front now. Experience is power now. Experience moves now. And you are student to experience, or you are teacher of experience. Pick one. But all that other bullshit that you just spewing into the atmosphere, shut the fuck up about it. Passing around misinformation, passing around fear-mongering, passing around propaganda. Have you lived next door to Muslims? Oh, okay. Did you ever go to the house of a Muslim? Okay. Did your daughter take interest in a Muslim? Did your son take interest in a Muslim? I don't know. Was your uncle a Muslim? What experience do you have to weigh against the propaganda that's moving around? Or are you just spewing shit out that you walked around tucked in your fucking ass all day? What experience do you have with what you're claiming, with what you're saying? If you don't have the experience, shut the fuck up. Focus on what you have experience on. And if you realize your identity requires you to go in a direction where you do not have experience, you know that you have to first find humility in order to become the student. That means shut the fuck up. Gemini closes all the yep. Shut the fuck up. Gemini closes that. And it opens receptivity, curiosity for engagement. Student, teacher. We ain't worried about details right now. What does the spirit say? What does the mind of the body say? Sagittarius. Get out of your head. Get into your heart. Get into the body. What do we need to embody? What do we need to be? What do we need to show and prove, to demonstrate, to live out, to practice? Show and prove. Make religious of. Pisces Neptune era is fucking over. The era of the internet. South Node Libra era is over. The era of college graduates who wield power in society. The world is disillusioned about college graduates. It's disillusioned about the claim of superiority in intelligence, qualification, or even authority of the college graduate. Donald Trump came as a catalyst that was to pull the dead leaves from the fucking tree. With a swipe of his pen, he made null and void, irrelevant, futile, a whole era of feminists who hope to be able to stand on that claim for a little longer, and their obsession with power and status. It now means nothing because AI now rivals to that. Massive layoffs. Massive layoffs. College degrees irrelevant overnight. Complaints of student loan debt. Misery of student loan debt. Sweeping the nation. Nobody's impressed by that college talk no fucking more. And everybody sees that college doesn't cure you from being a fucking dumbass. No amount of degrees, no amount of college attendance can save you from being the dumbass if you still don't know how to fucking think. It can't save you. If you're a fucking dumbass, you're a fucking dumbass. Before college, you're a fucking dumbass. After college, you're a fucking dumbass. Don't make a difference. Only the spirit can activate true intelligence because it's part of wisdom and discernment. Pallas Athena, pattern recognition. Where is your discernment? Where is your pattern recognition? Where is your wisdom? Pallas Athena in your natal birth chart. There are certain places where you are supposed to focus and emphasize that has already been calculated for you. But you want to be something you're not, thus the split of Gemini. Hypocrisy, contradiction. I'm confused. what's going on in my life. I thought I was supposed to do this or I thought I was supposed to be. Stick to the fucking script. Stick to your story. Stick to your design. It's already written. You're just living it out. And you're the one that wrote it before you got here. Where's your Palace Athena at? Okay, that's where your wisdom's at. Nobody asked for your fucking opinion. Nobody asked for your fucking advice in areas that ain't got shit to do with your fucking destiny. Why don't you be yourself for once? Who are you? Who are you supposed to be? Stop trying to be something you're not. Who are you? Come on. This reality doesn't accommodate falsehoods. It doesn't accommodate fictitious characters. In a little while, you're going to see that it's not going to accommodate the incorporated person. That's being exposed too. I'm trying to put you all on about it. I don't know if y'all listening or not. 256 of y'all is fucking lurkers. I don't know. I can't tell. 256 lurkers, 256 Odus of Ifa. Yeah, look it up. Think I'm lying? 256 lurkers, 256 Odus of Ifa. And what does that tell you? Y'all are shadows of the light that's promised to me. Understand that. All you fucking lurkers, you are shadows of the light that's promised to me. You're a sign of what's promised to me. Which means 256 of y'all gonna fall the fuck off. Yeah. Can't wait. Fuck out of here. Our world is new now. Pisces leaves out of Neptune, as Neptune leaves out of Pisces, and Saturn leaves out of Pisces, headed into Aries, transferred into Aries. The identity has to have the background of authenticity and truth. Sagittarius works in trine with this concept and idea, and so does Leo, the resilience of Leo, the status of Leo, the consistency of Leo, the radiant love of Leo. And that's why Leo's going to be purged next. South Node. It's going to be some hurt egos, and the precedence is already being set by Gemini. Gemini is culmination of the first house and the fifth house, the heart and the personality. That is Gemini. And when there's a crisis between the heart and the personality, yes, there's confusion at this full moon Gemini. Damn, I don't know what's fuck going on. Shit, my ego hurt. I thought this and I'm all up like that. The first house and the fifth house ain't matching, nigga. Yeah. The fucking first house and the fifth house ain't matching. It ain't telling the same story. It ain't singing the same song. Houston, we have a fucking problem. What do you know? Come on. What are we doing here? Ninth house stellium. Sagittarius. You're the student and the teacher simultaneously. You're the teacher of what you have experienced, not what you regurgitated online. Not what you read. Not what you Googled. Not some fucking stupid ass statistics. Studies suggest, studies show. Nobody want to fucking hear that. Shut the fuck up with that. We're over it. What did you suffer? What did you overcome? What did you learn from it? What did you endure? What did you pass through? What qualifies you to talk on what the fuck you talking on? And I don't want to hear no college shit. What did you experience? Yeah, tell me a story about that. What you go through? What happened? Better yet, you don't have to tell us that. Truth has a frequency. And when you speak from truth, it transfers into the hearts of others and people can feel it. That's the body's knowledge. Sagittarius. I know when you fucking lying. I know when you full of shit. I know when you a fresh college student who don't know shit. When you open your mouth, it's felt. Truth has a feeling. You ain't got no truth if you ain't got no suffering. You ain't got no truth if you ain't had no misery. You ain't got no truth if you ain't been through death and destruction. You don't got no truth. Where's the depth of you? Sagittarius bears witness to the depth of you. The depth in you, because it bears witness to Scorpio. Scorpio is the depth of you. It's where you are deep. The depth of you is what makes you real. Sagittarius is what makes you real. It's where you declare that your realness. Can people feel the realness in you? Can they detect the realness in you? Can they sense the realness in you? This is the time when you're supposed to be fucking real, not coming out with some regurgitated ethereal bullshit out your fucking ass. Yeah, that's cute, kid. Yeah, move along. Fuck out of here. The fire of Sagittarius is something that you embody because it consumes you with the truth. Zeal, conviction. To talk with cadence. The cadence of Sagittarius. Veins pop out the mouth because I lived this. Veins pop all out your fucking neck because I suffered this, nigga. I went through this shit. And I'm transferring it to you. Not reciting and regurgitating. All that's dead now is what I'm telling you. Say goodbye to it. It's about embodiment. What you embody is the value. What you embody is the precedence. What you embody is what has to get transferred as value to the world, to society, to your community, to the people. When the stallion gets into Capricorn, we give it order. We give it infrastructure. We apply it and subject it to patriarchal order in the spirit, making it functional so that it can be a service as the pouring forth of that water or experience. Wisdom at Aquarius. We're coming out of the depths of Scorpio, where truth was an active force in your life to give you the realness. Without Scorpio, there's no source of realness in your life. That's the source of realness. Sagittarius is to bring forth the fruit of that, the discoveries from that, the adventures from that, the truth from that. Realizations and alignment as a result of braving that. Did you run and hide during that phase? Did you just duck off? Did you cover your eyes? Did you bury your head in the fucking ground like an ostrich? Is that what you did during that time? Did you make it convenient for yourself? Lay a little pillow on the floor and curl up, suck your fucking thumb. Oh, I don't want to deal with this. I just want positive vibes only. Peace only. Positive vibes only. Those are the motherfuckers that's in the way. That whole tribe of them, positive vibes only. Positive vibe, positive vibes. Positive vibes only. Positive vibes. These are the fucking cancers. These are the motherfuckers that's in the fucking way. These are the people that's the fucking problem. These delusional sons of bitches is the problem. We ain't dealing with fucking positive vibes only right now. We dealing with the fucking truth. And we're trying to bring truth in so we can all be free. But cowards ruin everything. Cowards ruin every fucking thing. We are supposed to be bringing in the truth, and it takes all of us together to do it. Including your scary ass, if that applies to you. These fucking lizards and non-human entities aren't supposed to have control over us. They're not supposed to be ruling over us. It starts with your fear of truth on why they're able to do it. Fear issues the warrant.